You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And I am Evan Closky.
And we are the hosts of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays, as well as all the other podcasting platforms. We are also on social media, Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays. You can also email us anytime, lockedonrays@gmail.com. We are pleased to be joined by Evan Closky, Sports Director of Channel 10 WTSP Tampa Bay. Unfortunately, the Rays are in the midst, as of this recording, of a 4-game losing streak, possibly, likely, soon to be a 5-game losing streak. Evan, what gives? What's going on as you sip your quote-unquote
green tea?
Yeah,
green tea. You know, it's a culmination of things. It starts with the starting pitching, which has been a big problem. You know, usually you have Shane McClanahan sort of as a stopper in all of this, but the problem is what makes good teams good and bad teams bad is the bad ones don't line up. The offense and the pitching don't line each other up. And let's go look at the beginning of the year with the Rays. I mean, the offense was able to carry bad pitching days. The good pitching days were able to carry some weaker hitting days, which back then were about, you know, maybe 4 runs or so. So there's a lack of combinations. So when you go back to the Zach Eflin start, amazing outing from a starter, the hitting doesn't show up. Then you go back to the day afterwards where Yoni Chirinos got the start, he got the bulk innings, and you had Littell start. The hitting comes out firing in the first 3 innings, and the pitching stinks. So, and then you go to the game that's going on here, as you know, by this recording, it's entering the bottom of the 10th, 3-1 Phillies. Tremendous bullpen day from everyone you would expect to be on that postseason roster. The home run Diekman gave up wasn't even a bad pitch. You just tip your cap sometimes. The best performance from that bullpen, easily, bar none. And the hitting, non-existent outside of the Isaac Paredes home run. They're just unable to really generate any threats. I give Wander Franco a lot of respect for his crazy – I think he had a 12-pitch at bat. I think that's what it totaled.
Yeah.
And ultimately couldn't come through in that spot. But, I mean, that was a major league at bat. We don't see that often with this team. It's a lot of early in count, rolling over, just striking out. I think the approach has gone completely. They are flailing, not working counts. They are not trying to get on base. And they're doing the same things that the 2022 team did versus what we saw at the beginning of this year with that killer mentality, hard to get out, tough batters, forcing starters out of the game early, even if they didn't score runs. They're just completely out of whack. I think you mentioned it yesterday. They're tired. They look defeated. They look like they need a break. And I believe I have to double check this. I counted it yesterday, but I have to double check this. Counting the Phillies finale here, they've gone the last 9 games. In 8 of those 9 games, they've had a stretch where they did not score a run in 5 or more consecutive innings. So they just lay dormant. I mean, that could be, you know, like they score innings 1 through 3 and then they stop. They score in the first and the fourth, stop. You know, they went through innings 1 through 8, nothing, and then score in the 9th. So, I mean, just a lot of nothing. There's no momentum ever generating with this offense to where people are feeling good. Like they get it for a second and then it's gone the next inning.
We attributed it to fatigue, Kevin and I, on yesterday's show. Like, it just looks like they're tired. Do you see something else besides fatigue from this team that could explain this? Or is it just fatigue plus, hey, they hadn't lost more than 3 games in the season. So it makes sense that, hey, you're going to lose 5-6 in a row in a 162 game season.
Yeah, I think it's a regression to the mean, coming down from that 13-game winning streak, coming down from all the insane batting averages they had to start, all the home runs that were unexpected. Yandy hasn't gone deep in a while. Harold Ramirez hasn't gone deep in a while. Josh Lowe, his power, outside of one game here, I think he's hit 1 home run in like a month and a half. If you didn't have Luke Raley, who's bopping him out consistently? Luke Raley's really, and Luke wasn't in the lineup yesterday. You have Yandy, who's able to get on base. You have Wander, who's usually able to generate some pressure. But, the catching position is completely stuffed. It's an auto out at this point. And there just does not and Siri is all or nothing. So, it's literally all the concerns that we felt entering the season with this offense. They're all right back in our face, every single one of them. And the Rays are going to have to seriously answer some questions of whether there's going to be a natural uptick in success for some of these players, or are they going to have to really make some tough decisions and cut bait and figure that out. So
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I know that off air we have spoken about this. So let's just bring it out in the open here. I don't understand. I do understand what is happening with Jonathan Aranda. He is just killing AAA pitching. AAA pitching is not MLB pitching. However, either bring him up or trade him to get the team better. Because
I think
you're just going to just.
Well, the trade has to be there. It takes 2 to tango. And the thing is, I wanted Aranda up over Brujan when Lau was on the IL.
Who wouldn't?
And I felt that was necessary. But in that time period, they were also going through win, loss. They were staying 500, and they were maintaining their pace. And there's no rush to do anything. Might as well keep the good defense. Now it's a losing streak. Now things are crappy. Now you need a jolt. Now it can't be like things are still fine. Things are still fine. They are in the grand scheme of things. You lose this game, you're still up 4 in the division. It would still take a sweep from Baltimore in a 4-game set to just tie you. But yeah, you have to push a button to kind of spark something. And my big issue is I don't know who you send down. They're stuck. They're stuck with who they have.
Yes, right now, yes. But if I want to live in the past just for the next couple minutes, and just bear with me here, the whole thing was Vidal Brujan gives you more defensive prowess than Jonathan Aranda, and he gives you versatility. Boys, do you want to take a gander at how many times Vidal Brujan started a game from June 5th until July 2nd? Any game that wasn't at second base? Do you guys want to just think about how many times he started a game that wasn't at second base?
Goose egg.
Don't tell me you don't tell me versatility when you don't use his versatility. And again, tell me one highlight reel catch that Vidal Brujan did, a game-saving catch, a diving stop by Vidal Brujan. My goodness, what a glove. No, you didn't get that. And you got goose egg of production with the bat. I understand the thought process, but Jonathan Aranda does not need to prove anything to anybody in AAA. So again, either move him up and make a tough decision with the 26 roster.
What is that decision?
It could be Harold Ramirez, right?
So trading Harold Ramirez?
It could be an option. Sure. Yeah. Harold Ramirez, for all the positivity that I think he brings to the clubhouse, and that's a really big thing. But if you just want to name names, the guy doesn't give you a lot of glove, and he smashes lefties, but lefties, he's seeing more righties than lefties. It's just the short side of the platoon. It's just normal to be able to see more righties than lefties. So if there's a name to be picked out, I think he's the first one to go. But I'm just strictly thinking about why wasn't Aranda up when Brujan? Because
I would be more shocked if there's a spot or an injury comes through the pipeline, then I would have a big question if Vidal Brujan gets the call again instead of Jonathan Aranda, unless the Rays are holding their cards close to the vest and saying, look at what Jonathan Aranda is doing AAA. Look what he could do for your team.
That's exactly what's happening.
Okay.
That's exactly what's happening. It's just trade bait now. And it's kind of, it's very frustrating as a fan to know that that's exactly what's happening. They're just building up his value so that somebody goes, oh, we got to get this guy. But pull the trigger, man. And I know, Evan, you said it takes another team to tango, and you're 100% right. But you're telling me right now that there are 29 other teams that are just saying, nope, I'm holding on. Like, there's not one good trade that can happen with Jonathan Aranda on the table? Really?
I mean, there's probably a trade that can be had, or, it's so much more complicated than I just want to, like, if you're in a fantasy baseball league and you have a stuff position, it's not like you can be like, yo, trade me that person. They're going to be like, I'm good. Or it's like, okay, give me this person. No, I'm not going to give you that person. I want to give you this person. It's like, well, I guess we're not going to come to a deal. All right, call up the next team. Hey, are you willing to trade this person? What are you going to give me? I mean, it's a whole, like, and again, the trade deadline is not for another 4 weeks. So you have teams that are kind of, I'm not sure if I'm ready to fully sell yet. Let me see how my team does another couple of weeks. So, right, like the Mets, for example, you want to call up the Mets and say, hey, I want some of your players. Last week it was sell. Now they're on a little bit of a heater. Now you start getting belief. Now you hold on to your pieces. I got some time. We can work out a deal. We got 25 days really if we want to do something. So why not wait till the 24th? It's complicated. So there's no quick fix. I would say, entering the second half of the season, the Rays are going to have to make a really tough decision, I think, with a couple of players. One of them you mentioned is Harold Ramirez. Now, last season, he kind of did this too, where he would have amazing months and then like a 250, 240 month. But the thing is, his highs have not been as high this year. So he was 338 in April, which is amazing. But he actually had 4 months last year where he was 339 or more in a month, which is crazy to think about, right? Yeah. If you remember how good Harold is. And that's how good he has to be to really be an effective Major League Baseball player, because he doesn't really provide much else. So then he dipped in May to like a 250 something average. And then he rose back up to a 313 average. And then now, this past month, it was around 240. So typically that means a surge is coming. But you're probably going to give Harold Ramirez the rest of July to see if that surge comes. But if it doesn't, and it's a trade deadline, and Aranda's still in AAA, I have a tough time believing that Aranda's not going to get that job, especially if Harold's not providing the hitting against lefties, which was his ace in the hole. And he got a swarm of lefties in this 3-1 loss, and didn't do anything with it. So, look, there's some hitting into bad luck too involved. Nothing's really going their way. Like Yandy Diaz hits one up the middle, bounces off the guy's glove, goes right to the first baseman. Isaac Paredes rips a ball at third base, and Bohm makes a great play. Bohm, charges on Isaac Paredes, makes a great play. Taylor Walls smokes a ball up the middle. Guy makes a diving play.
Yeah, where are all these great plays coming from with the Phillies, who were one of the worst teams in baseball according to defense?
They did this in the playoffs last year, right? They ebb and flow, and also, in the postseason last year, all of a sudden the Philadelphia Phillies learned how to play defense, and that's how they made it to a World Series in part. And right now they look like a World Series contender. A playoff contender, and someone who can cause some noise in there, especially with that lineup. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, like every time you want to complain about the hitting, then the starting pitching backfires, and then when the pitching shows up, the hitting's nowhere to be existent. They're just disjointed, and they've been disjointed ever since they made that trip out to Oakland, that West Coast road trip. And you know, for Rays fans out there, look on the bright side that no matter what, they're going to enter the All-Star break as the AL East leader, and that you can at least take into the break. I think I read somewhere the 2008 Rays, I believe, went into the All-Star break on a 7-game losing streak.
That's correct. Yeah.
You know, so this stuff happens, but
yeah,
I think even when we talk post 13-0, I think I mentioned, I have to go back to those teams. I think I mentioned there's a really bad losing streak coming to equalize that. And this seems to be the time. And this is usually the toughest time in a season for a player too, because you're so far away from the postseason, yet the grind is starting to hit you. And you have a bunch of young players, and you start wondering maybe if they didn't properly pace themselves correctly at this point. But, you know, they're not this bad of a team. They'll swim out of the funk. Things will get better. It's just, you know, you had a moment in the season where the high was extremely high. You're in a part of the season where the low is pretty low. It can get worse. They play the Braves. A 9-game losing streak isn't out of the question with that. So, or I should say, an 8-game losing streak. 8-game losing streak isn't out of the question with that. So, there's a part of me that hopes that maybe the Braves coming into town gives them something to be excited about facing what probably in most opinions the best team in baseball, and maybe this is kind of like it's time for us to wake the F up moment.
Yeah, if that doesn't hype you up, and the possibility of facing some former Rays on that Braves squad. And last I checked, I looked at the numbers, and I think the Braves, they had 1 million All-Stars this year. That was the number. Amazing. We have more to discuss, but first we have to tell you this. Gametime is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning months in advance. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. The Gametime guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. So snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Just download the Gametime app, create an account for yourself, and then use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create that account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. I'll say it a third time. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Ulises, I want to touch on something real quick. So are you suggesting, or are you saying that today or going into the Brave series, would you do something if you were the Rays to move Harold Ramirez or somebody else off the roster to give Jonathan Aranda a chance?
No. My whole point was, the argument was with Brujan, he gives you versatility. He gave you none. Oh, he gives you more defense. Somebody in the comments section, please tell me that one great highlight reel.
I have not watched every single inning or instance of Rays baseball, but I have not seen. There is not a lengthy list of, oh my God, that was a great play or a great at bat or a great moment from Vidal Brujan.
So I'll take the guy that just destroyed AAA. Yeah, that doesn't mean he'll destroy MLB pitching, but and again, it's frustrating because it's exactly what you said, Kevin. It's, let's amp up the value up here. Look what he's doing in AAA so that you can make a trade. Like, he's trade bait by this point. Like, it's because it doesn't make sense. If the Rays don't trade him, then then something wrong happened.
Maybe they have a long play of Jonathan Aranda in the sense that they don't want to stunt his growth, stunt his development, knowing that if they had called him up instead of Vidal Brujan, he wouldn't be getting the reps and the opportunities that they believe he deserves just based on the roster structure of the team.
I mean,
But when would he?
here's my thing. I agree with that to a sense, but the thing is, Aranda would be starting against all righties, and for the most part, that means he can get pretty regular at bats. And he's no different than any other player on this team who gets maybe like 1 or 2 off days a week. So, I mean, right, like Rayleigh and Lowe, I would, at least Rayleigh, who's, maybe pound for pound, the best hitter on this team right now, behind Yandy Diaz and Wander Franco. He's not playing against lefties, right? You got to pull him out of the lineup. So I will also mention this team is really probably in need of a right-handed bat. I think
Nelson Cruz was DFA'd. Bring him back.
I think they're lefty. I think that shows kind of how exposed they are against lefties. When you have to pull Lowe, Rayleigh, Lau out of the lineup, those are 3 pretty good hitters. And I know Rays fans don't give Lau much respect anymore, but Lau is at least supposed to be, when healthy, when doing what he's supposed to do, one of your better hitters. And I mean, those are 3 guys who you rely on a lot, pulled out of the lineup. So, for me, you're not going to get anything for Howard Ramirez. I can see him as a kick-in. Like, we're going to give you a bunch of players, and we have to clear a 40-man spot. So please, take him. He'll go into your lineup. You can.
Yeah, I think he's more valuable than that. So you're saying that the Rays need a righty bat, but they would get rid of or move off of Harold Ramirez? I feel like you have to keep him a part of this.
Well, I mean, probably it's a catch-22 because he's your best probably lefty hitter, but he doesn't really.
I think Harold Ramirez. I wouldn't do anything with Harold Ramirez until 2023 offseason, quite frankly.
I agree. I don't think you have to. Again, we said this like a few weeks ago. Well, actually, you did, Kevin. Don't mess with the team chemistry with the lineup. Everything's working right now, right? I think this is just fatigue and regression. It's just frustrating to see because you were up here for so long that seeing them struggle this much is very hard.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm just saying they're really crunched. Like, if they want to, if this offense goes the way that it has been, which is very 2022, which again, I don't expect it to be this bad for that long, but it is a concern when they're in a 5-game losing streak and looking like crap.
Yeah.
You have to worry about what is the worst case scenario. I'm not suggesting that they would trade Harold. I'm saying if they get a larger deal where they need to move someone off the 40-man, I can see them someone who can fill that spot, bring him in, throw them Harold, bring up Jonathan, and you have some sort of answer. It all has to make sense. So, I mean, without actually names and deals, I'm really speaking out of my ass. But, I'm just saying that I don't think he's a no trade, like we're going to keep him here. What most likely is going to happen at this point is Aranda's going to be stuck down there until the 2 extra men are added to the roster, and they'll bring him up. And they'll carry that as their platoon DH when they have a little bit extra work with. He'll be their hitter, and then, you get an extra arm involved. But, I mean, really, at the deadline, they need to attack a high-leverage relief pitcher.
Please.
They need to get a depth starting pitcher to get them through this regular season, and potentially a break glass if needed in the playoffs. But they definitely need somebody to help them, especially if Taj Bradley, his peripherals tell me that he's better than what he's done. Like I expect him to kind of do boomerang and have a couple of really good starts again. But there is a little bit of the rookie wall, and there is a little bit of that, you wonder if he's going to break through that. So you do need some inning eaters who are serviceable and able to not, maybe they're not the greatest, but they're not going to blow you up either. Yoni Chirinos, I don't know how much they can keep throwing him. honestly.
Yeah.
He was playing even when he was like at the beginning of good, his baseball savant page was colder than Fargo. It just was like, it really was a little bit of fool's gold. And I can't really pinpoint, like even, people want to go, oh, we just had a good start against Arizona. I mean, he went 6 innings. He gave up 7 hits. It's just that they spread him out. So everything got spread out. But it's not like a great game. He just avoided disaster. He avoided, he danced around issues.
You can only do that for so long.
Correct. And some nights it works out for you. The other night it didn't. He just got peppered in the same inning. So it just, there's that. And they really need to visit again the catcher position. I'm not really willing to give everything away for a catcher.
No. The move was Sean Murphy. It didn't work out because they asked for too much, and then they got way less by the Braves. What are they gonna look? Jan Gomes? Like, come on.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what's out there.
And can the Braves make a wrong move in free agency or trade? They just seem to be acing the test every single time here.
Yeah, the Braves are incredible, and they're coming to town with the Rays in a 5-game losing streak. But you know what, boys? We scrapped baseball trivia last week. We're not doing that again. Yes. I'm going with baseball trivia. We got to pick up the mood for our Locked On Rays people. In front of me for baseball trivia, I've got the 1995 box score of Game 1 of the World Series of the Atlanta Braves, which, by the way, they won that game. In that box score, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people took at bats, or at least were in the box score. Maybe they were pinch hitting, pinch running, etc. 12 people wearing a Braves uniform in Game 1 of the 95 World Series. 12. Can you name, with both of you, 5 of these 12 names?
Well, Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones.
Chipper Jones is correct, batting third at third base. Andrew Jones is incorrect, strike 1.
Oh, man, I guess it was a little bit too soon for him.
So this, I guess it's my turn. I mean, Evan was just swinging. Like
I thought those were the 2 easy ones.
Doesn't stop swinging. So this is just position players, correct?
Box score, and remember you're in 95, so that's all I'll say. That's way too many hints.
In what game?
Game 1.
Greg Maddux.
Greg Maddux is correct. I gave you too much.
That's critical thinking skills.
Yeah, I ruled.
No, that's me giving you the answer, man.
No, I ruled out. No, I'm really happy you caught on, Kev, because I didn't. Because when I was like about to name Maddox, and you said the position players, I'm like, I'll throw them out. Dumb. I'm between 2. Was Javi Lopez the catcher for that team?
Is that a guess?
I don't know. I don't like your response there.
Is that a guess? I don't know how to say it.
Yeah.
You're correct. Javi Lopez entered as a defensive replacement. He did not take an at bat. Javi Lopez is correct.
Wow. Lucky.
I think I got one.
Okay.
And this guy didn't just play baseball, but also played football. He played football for, I believe, the Falcons. Brian Jordan.
Oh, that was going to be mine.
Incorrect. Striker.
Oh, my goodness.
That was going to be mine, though.
You guys are going early with Jones and Jordan. Strike 2. You guys shorten that swing, baby. You guys have Chipper Jones. You have Javi Lopez. You have Greg Maddux. You need 2 more. Or you guys are going to hate it if you don't get this.
Kev, was McGriff on that team?
He might have been. He did play for the Braves for 5-6 years, and I think around that time frame.
All right, I'll go McGriff.
The Crime Dog is your last answer?
Yeah.
Crime Dog is correct. Very good. Batting fourth. Playing first base is Fred McGriff. I'll give you the rest of these names because you got Chipper Jones, you got Fred McGriff, you got Javi Lopez, you got Greg Maddux. No, you need one more.
Need one more. Yeah.
You got 4. I got ahead of myself. You got 4.
Okay. Evan, any names jump out to you at the present?
It's about to give you a big name too at batting leadoff.
Batting leadoff for the Braves in 1995.
You both love this guy, which is insane.
Did he play for the Rays? Or the Devil Rays?
No.
We both love this guy. 1995.
You both have brought this name up, like unsolicited.
He's got to be like a slap hitter, like the prototypical leadoff guy. Oh, you know what? I think I got one for you.
Okay.
How did I not think of this? My distant relative, Walt Weiss.
Is that an actual? Is that a
That
guess?
is an actual guess.
Incorrect. He is not on this box score, but I will give you the rest of these names. The first one, the leadoff guy, playing center field, Marcus Grissom. Second base, Mark Lemke, Chipper Jones, Fred McGriff. This one's going to hurt, boys. David Justice playing right field. This one's also going to hurt a little bit less. Ryan Klesko batting in left.
Klesko.
Mike Devereaux, Charlie O'Brien, Luis Polonia, Javi Lopez, Rafael Belliard, and Greg Maddux.
David Justice should have been gotten.
Yeah.
I regret that one.
Yeah, that one. That one's the big one. Missed out.
Marcus
Grissom. You guys have both said Marcus Grissom before in this show.
Quick. We name that war quickly. Let's just.
I looked at it. I'm sorry.
Off the hip. Off the hip.
Okay.
No thought.
Yes. Walt Weiss didn't play for the Braves till 98. Rafael Furcal, what is his career WAR?
Off the hip.
Off the hip. Rafael Furcal.
18.8.
What'd you say?
18.8.
21.
No, you guys are. He was a great player. 39.5 career WAR.
Wow.
Three-time All-Star, 2011 World Series champion, Rookie of the Year. Very good numbers across the board. Yeah, there it is.
I really
Off
okay.
the hip.
Can we
That's
do?
off the hip? Yeah.
Can we do name that? Can we do 2 name that wars in the future? One that we can actually think about and synthesize a career, but another where it's you legit have 5 seconds. You have to give it quickly.
I like that.
I like that a lot. We got an idea by an OG listener that was to combine who has the higher WAR, Zobrist or Furcal, and so you have to who has the higher WAR? That would be really cool.
Oh, that's a tough one. Hey, that's pretty good too.
He actually gave us the same idea for an episode with Ryan Sandberg, Mr. Hill.
Yeah, maybe we put it out to the audience. What would you prefer? You do a rapid fire name that war and a more
Thought out.
more thought into the second name that war, or the who has the higher career WAR. Maybe we would
switch
get
it up. 1 week
some.
one week the other. The third one.
There we
the
go. We can
original.
always switch it up.
Yeah.
We're not rigid here.
No.
All right, Evan, how can people find your work?
At Closky WTSP. That's on Twitter. I sometimes send out trade proposals that nobody likes. And then you can also go to 10tampabay.com where we're, we got you covered on Rays, Bolts off season, Pat Maroon gets traded, Alex Kaloran signs in Anaheim, Bucks off season. The training camp's about to start in a few weeks. So we'll have you covered there. And then, of course, the Rays, we should be around for the next time they win a game. Who knows when that is? But,
No, they are going. How many wins do they have this season?
They've got 57, baby.
Okay, they will be going 57 and 105.
Yep.
Competing
with the
be their
Royals.
final record.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to be right there with the Royals and the Athletics.
That's what anti-social media tells me. So, yeah.
Yes. Real quickly, 2 very quick questions. Will Wander Franco have a higher career WAR than Rafael Furcal at 39.5?
Yes.
Yes.
Will Wander Franco have a higher career WAR than Rafael Furcal just in a Rays uniform?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. All right, listeners, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you next week.